I think I spoke this briefly. Nagarjuna wrote the Madhyamik Mulakarika, and in its homage, he said, the Buddha is the only one who is like the supreme speaker or the supreme expounder or the supreme teacher, basically. This is not just a poetic kind of expression of devotion of this poetic thing. It's actually, there is quite a lot of element into this statement that Buddha is the supreme speaker or the teacher. Anyone who is not Buddha, including the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattvas, doesn't have that quality. It's actually one of the qualities of top two. It's a 10th power, one of the very special power. Obviously, I mean, forget about us, people like me, who's trying to teach you. Even the 10th Bodhisattvas, they don't have this power. So, when people like myself, ordinary deluded sentient beings, when we teach with many tools, and most of these tools are very ordinary and defiled. First of all, if you are not careful, the motivation comes from wishing to gain power, possession, followers, offerings. That kind of defilement. But even then, even though once in a blue moon, if someone like myself, the teacher, when once in a blue moon, some kind of a kindness and compassion to really teach these things with a kind heart, wishing to benefit others. Non-sublime teachers are very limited with tools. So what do? Basically, we do guest job. It's called guest job. You just have to guess. And that's the only way. Actually, even the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattvas, they use the same tool. But of course, like myself, everything is basically guest job, or in my case it's basically repeating, parroting what has been taught. A bodhisattva who is on the path of application, guest job is much better, much more educated than guest job. And then the first bhumi, much better. 10th, and then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all the way up to the 10th bhumi. It's very good guest job. I need to tell you this because it's believed that every sentient being has different element. We call it element, intention, power of interpretation. Basically, different constitution, and not only in a sort of a kind of a fixed way, but even these elements, they change it every day, every time, every second, every moment. Right this very moment, individually, all of you are going through different elements, different sense, different consciousness, different motivation. So, I mean, obviously us, but even the Buddha, there is a sutra that I don't remember completely. When Buddha coughed, a physician, a nun, and an arhat, I think so. I'm not so sure, so you have to check this out. Anyway, 3 people hear 3 different things. The physician, because of his profession, okay, Buddha maybe have a little bit of sore throat or something like that. And the nun heard something, and this arhat heard some teachings or something like that. Although this is, of course, not a Vajrayana time. We are not going to teach Vajrayana. So don't ask me questions about Vajrayana. I don't know nothing about Vajrayana. But, for instance, in Sarana, when Buddha taught 4 noble truths, for instance, when Buddha said, know the suffering, abandon the cause of suffering. Generally, the story is there's so-called 5 monks who are listening to this. And then they heard the general way, which is, know the suffering, abandon the cause of suffering, all of that. But there are also some other students, they are called Vidyadharas, sort of tantric practitioners. The same word, they hear different things. They hear, when Buddha said, abandon the suffering. They heard, samsara is blissful. When Buddha said, abandon the cause of suffering. They heard Buddha said, use emotion, utilize emotion as the path. It's almost like a complete 180 degrees difference. And both get benefit. Anyway, come down, this basically, as you listen, I mean, this is nothing, this is nothing like religious. This is basically very, even scientific, like when 2 people talk, even though we assume that you have heard what the other person is saying, basically it is you who is listening and who is doing the assumption of that's what he said. This is quite important because even in the sutras, for instance, Ananda always begins, thus have I heard. Among many other reasons why he said that, it also is a bit of a disclaimer. He's saying that I have heard this way, it could be different way. You understand? So there's what do you call it? So guest job is what we can do. I'll get to the point. Don't worry, I'm being kind of long-winded here. Long-winded. So guest job is a bit like this. If you have invited a French guest for your dinner, it's kind of safe to have a red wine. You understand? The French guy will kind of fall for it. You understand? It's kind of safe. The guest, this is what I mean by guest job. If you have invited Chinese and you really don't have much, maybe you have a lot of, spicy food, but if you somehow can pull off a noodly food, sort of, something to do with a noodle, something they can sort of feel home with, it's kind of safe. Not too spicy, something to do with that, So, that's how the guest job is done. Now, there are many formulas that has been designed by the past masters as given to us as a people like us, the future teachers. They have given us a formula. Okay, this is how you should, this is how you should categorize or do a better guess job. So they have designed so many incredible formulas. For instance, Kadampas have something called Jebu Chending Chung Lam. The person in the lesser, greater, and the greatest person's path. So accordingly, you teach them. For the lesser person, you teach one thing. The greater person, you teach one thing. And of course, the greatest another. So therefore, you also have like 3 different kinds. Same thing, yanas, all this, Mahayana, Sharvaka yana. I try to not use the word Hinayana, by the way, because it's really Hinayana is kind of a Mahayana chauvinist language. It's really not a good term. We should really refrain using this word. When I was in Burma, I was not even a Buddhist. I was incognito. And there was this Korean monk who was like really Mahayana hardline sort of, and he was in the teaching, and every day almost every day he gets into trouble. The monk, the meditation master, was very honest actually. He actually, towards the end, he really basically said Mahayana was never taught by the Buddha. And one day I actually sort of brought up pretending, well, how could this so-called tantric thing, this Theravada monk is, oh, that's very evil. This is actually like a Hindu mixture and all of that. I have to get along with him actually. Did you know why? Because we, so-called the Mahayana people, while Sharvakayana people, or the Theravadins, they don't have the burden to prove that the Theravada teaching is Buddha's teaching. We have to prove. And not only that, we have to accept that Theravada teaching is teachings taught by the Buddha. That's a totally different subject anyway. So, 3 different, not only 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all kinds of different types of human beings, different types of vessels, basically. Different types of vessels. They are all generalized as a Jebu Chending Chung. A greater person, the greatest, and the lesser. It's all of these are basically generalizations actually, really. Lots of these, even the words, even the categorizations such as anger, jealousy, desire, passion, aggression, and ignorance. It's a generalization. It's a very good generalization. It's believed that actually there are some amazing emotions that we don't even have a name on this earth, which only the Buddha, the greatest expounder of the Dharma, can understand and see how it works, and he applies the remedy. But it is safe to generalize like this. Now the reason why I'm telling you this is we are about to get into the second point, which is if you have if you have attachment to samsara, you have no, you have no renunciation mind. So this is what we are about to. Begin. The lesser person, the lesser capacity practitioners of the vessel thinks like this. The lesser people, they think samsara is full of suffering. birth, old age, sickness, disease, all these problems, endless problems. Samsara is what you don't want. No, not samsara actually. Lower realms. I should say lower realms. So they look for higher rebirth. They want to reborn in heaven. They want to have a little bit of, quite a lot of power. They maybe not only heaven. Okay, this life we are so poor, nothing works, destitute situation. So, what do you want? You want, okay, this life. Okay, by the way, all these three types of people, they have no attachment to this life. Okay, you have to think of that. They have decided this life is basically not worthy to be attached to, but the next life, the lesser person longs for better wealth, better health, better situation, higher birth, reborn as, I don't know, even a pet of Bill Gates will do. For example, at least you can live, in a nice place, something like that. Higher rebirth, basically, heavenly experience. This, according to the Buddha Dharma, Mahayana, especially here, this type of people is called lesser people, lesser capacity. Anyway, I'll go to all the categories, and this is what we have to be. This is what the second point we will be discussing. Anyway, to go through all the all the categories, then there are greater capacity vessels or practitioners who thinks, higher rebirth is not necessarily the best thing. I want enlightenment, but only for myself. Don't really think about others. You think, everybody is in themselves. I will try to achieve enlightenment for myself. Everybody has to do it individually, and I will try to achieve enlightenment. I'm fed up with this life. That is called greater, and the greatest is not really bothering about one's own enlightenment, but enlightenment of others, which we are going to discuss during the third and the fourth points. So, the training here is not to be attracted to the target of lesser practitioners' target. The lesser practitioners' target is to really have better situation. And this actually is very beautifully expressed, beautifully